Imagine you're sitting home at night, watching your favorite movie, eating some popcorn, and drinking a refreshing soda. You're having a great time, but then you hear something. It's odd. You can barely make out the sound as it clashes against the sound of your movie. Knowing that you do in fact hear something that isn't coming from the screen, you pause your movie, and then that's when you hear it. The sound of a crying baby. A bit startled, you stand up and turn on the light. Upon another listen, you can hear that the sound is coming from your front door. Afraid that someone just left their baby on the doorstep, you quickly grab your coat to bring the baby in, so that you may shelter it from the harsh cold weather. You reach for the door handle and open the door, but before you stands not the crying baby you thought you heard, but a man. A tall man, wearing a mask, holding a tape recorder in one hand, and a knife in the other. Understanding what just happened, you wish you never heard the sound of the crying baby. This legend came into existence only a few years ago, making it relatively new. A few years ago, there were some emails passed around that warned people about a serial killer who used a haunting trick to lure his victims into opening their doors. As the legend has it, one night there was a middle-aged woman who was sitting at home reading the newspaper while her husband was away at work. It was getting late, so she decided to go to bed. She left some dinner out for her husband, wrapped it in tinfoil, and headed off to bed. Moments after she fell asleep, she awoke to a strange sound. Having just woken up, and still tired, she couldn't make out what the sound was. So she got up, put on her slippers, and stepped into the hallway. It was then that she was able to make out what the sound actually was. It was a baby crying. She thought it was weird, but was still tempted to go and investigate. She reached for the door handle, and then her dog stood up and started to bark at the door. Suddenly overcome by this uneasy feeling, she got her phone and called the police. When she told them that she had heard the sound of a crying baby, they simply responded with, "We'll be right over. Don't open your door." Just moments after she hung up, she heard the sounds of sirens outside her home. One policeman knocked on her door, while the other was searching the premises. When she opened the door, she found that the policeman was holding a baby doll with a tape recorder. He then explained that there was a serial killer on the loose, and he was using the sounds of a crying baby to lure women out of their homes and into his clutches. He then explained that they have been receiving calls from many women reporting the sounds of a crying baby, and apparently, this serial killer managed to trick two and murder them. One of the women was cooking when she heard the sounds of a crying baby, and the other was watching her favorite movie. Now, the legend itself is nothing more than just that, a legend. However, it doesn't mean that serial killers, or killers in general, don't use these kinds of tricks. They lure you into a sense of security, and then, when you least expect it, they attack. Ted Bundy did it by dressing up as a cop, and some theorize that a serial killer in Louisiana actually used the sounds of a crying baby to lure one of his victims out of their home. Regardless, if you hear the sounds of a crying baby at night, you're at best being haunted, and at worst, about to be murdered.